Hello, Stormont. I'm going to start with a little story. In 1966, a young John Lennon visited the Jacinda Gallery in London. There was a conceptual artist exhibiting at the time, and he was attracted to one of the pieces. It was a white ladder leading up to a magnifying glass, and there was a word written on the ceiling. So the brave John Lennon decided to scale that ladder, took the magnifying glass in his hands, and looked up at that very small but very significant word written on the ceiling. And no surprises for guessing what that word was. It was yes. So this very small but significant word had a major impact on John Lennon and his subsequent career, and it probably is no great surprise that the artist of that day was none other than Yoko Ono. I don't think any more needs to be said. Well, clearly I'm no John Lennon. John Lennon was born in Liverpool, son of a merchant seaman. I was born in Clonakilty, West Cork, son of a cattle dealer. John Lennon had a passion for business, or passion for music. I had a passion for business. There's clearly nothing sexy about music. Business is far more interesting. John Lennon obviously went on to form the Beatles. After 18 years working for Morgan Stanley globally, I went on to found Fintru, which is a regtech company looking to preserve and protect the integrity of the securities markets. Both careers pursued, both ladders climbed in search of that elusive yes. And really in the spirit of possibility of the TED Talks being delivered at Stormont today, and in the anniversary of the 25th Good Friday Agreement, I think it is very important that we do believe in the spirit of possibility and we do look at yes. So my name is Darragh McCarthy, living in Belfast, married with 3 children, founder of the aforementioned Fintru, an optimism addict. I've taken the theme of my talk today to be entrepreneurial ambition with humility. So I think and hopefully I will be able to share with you today the importance of encouraging entrepreneurship, embracing ambition, but always maintaining a sense of humility and never forgetting where we came from, how we got there, and who supported us on that journey. So first, I'd like to really talk about entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship? Who is an entrepreneur? So if I was to poll the audience, both live and watching online, I'm pretty sure I would get names such as Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, all fantastic entrepreneurs. I would, however, challenge the audience, and I would say entrepreneurship is not the preserve of the male sex. There's also absolutely fantastic female entrepreneurs. I'm thinking of Oprah Winfrey, Rihanna, Whitney Wolfe Herd, and I'm sure there's many, many more. When we talk about entrepreneurship, what is it really? For me, I'm actually a literature student. I'm a businessman, but actually I grew up studying literature, so I did get a proper education. I look at the etymology of a word. So the etymology of entrepreneurship, or entreprendre actually comes from French. It means to undertake. The German word for being an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur is actually selbstständig. It's actually broken into 2 words. Selbst means yourself, and ständig means continuously. So an entrepreneur is someone who does something themselves continuously. And I'm sure if you take out your eponymous Google and decide to look up entrepreneurship or what is an entrepreneur, you'll find a wonderful definition that'll run something along the lines of someone who has an idea, who looks to build a product or service that someone will buy, and builds an organization around to support those sales. Well, I don't know about all of you, but I think that's seriously boring. Entrepreneurship has to be a bit more like that. So I actually have a very simple, and this is trademarked to Darragh McCarthy, so don't anyone go steal it, definition of entrepreneurship, namely the creation of certainty where none existed before. So you're thinking, what is he talking about? The creation of certainty where none existed before. Okay, so indulge me a little bit. Next slide up, you're going to see this gentleman on the left is in a fruit market stall, and this gentleman, who obviously you'll hopefully well recognize, the very famous Steve Jobs. So who is the entrepreneur here? Well, we can say that Steve Jobs certainly made us want or need the latest iProduct. My wife just got a new iPhone 14 yesterday. I'm well aware of that need that he has created. What about the market fruit person? Does he also not certainly make us want to buy his fruit? I think so. And very often, we don't realize that deep down, we are all an entrepreneur in some capacity. And I think a lot of people in this audience today, both watching and listening, are actually entrepreneurs, and they do look to create that certainty in everything they do. Because being an entrepreneur also makes a difference. And I think it is important that we stress that. Now, so let's come back to certainty. I'm going to teach, this is again trademark to Darragh McCarthy, so do not go and sell this anywhere else. I'm going to teach you a little trick on how to create certainty. So, I don't know if anyone knows this, but if you want to create certainty, or if you want to guarantee an outcome, the first thing you do is you get a pen, and you get a piece of paper, and you write it down. By writing something down, the statistical likelihood of that event happening is 50%. Wow, it's pretty good. Good. Okay, so you've written it down. What about if you write it down and tell all your friends and family and loved ones? The likelihood of that event happening is no longer 50%, it's actually 75%. Pretty good. But what if, after writing it down, telling all your friends, family, and loved ones, you tell the entire world that this is going to happen? You've created certainty. Now, my only problem is I've not told enough people how much weight I'm losing for my summer holidays, because that clearly hasn't happened yet. But what I would say is both the gentleman at the fruit stall and Steve Jobs, they certainly made us want their apples. That's a joke, you can laugh. So having described and hopefully shared what is to be an entrepreneur and entrepreneurship and that creation of certainty, now I'd really like to talk about ambition. And ambition, unfortunately, in this part of the world is not always lauded. Sometimes it's vilified. And also, ambition is very often viewed in a very narrow, materialistic sense. People view ambition as about enhancing one's material wealth. It's not. Ambition is about so much more. Ambition is about believing in a better tomorrow. Ambition is about believing in a better tomorrow, but also learning the lessons from the past. And if you believe in a better tomorrow, that is a fundamental tenet of being an optimist. And yes, entrepreneurs are optimists. Entrepreneurs do not know the two-letter word called no. Entrepreneurs only know that small word that John Lennon found on that ceiling. It's yes. They're only interested in solutions. They only want something better. They only want to move forward. And I think it is very important that we support that ambition. And I think personally today, we need more of that in this country. And we need more of that optimism. And I think that is what will make the difference. It is that yes. It is that belief. Now, it's fantastic being an entrepreneur, and it's fantastic being ambitious. But the entrepreneurs who truly inspire and impress me are those entrepreneurs who never, ever forget where they came from, what they're about, who helped them on their journey. And that is often what I describe as humility. Now, before I talk about humility, there's actually another trick I'm going to teach you. This also is trademarked to Darragh McCarthy, so don't go copying it. I'm going to teach you how to be optimists. And I'm going to banish pessimism from your lives. Right? You can send me the checks later for that lesson. But if you consider, and it's very important that we are realistic. Bad stuff happens. Problems occur. But the fundamental difference between an optimist and a pessimist is how they deal with challenge. So I'm going to teach you something. So an optimist, when something happens, they deal with it. They worry about it. They'll figure out a solution. They are solution-focused yes people. Pessimists, on the other hand, will worry about something before it happens, and they'll worry about it again when it happens. Now, I don't know about all of you watching and listening, but I find worrying about something once is more than enough. And I genuinely think that if you worry about something too much, it leads to negative energy. And I'm a great believer in positive energy flows. It's great for your mental health. You wouldn't look at my physique that I'm probably a yogi, but I am a yogi. And I'm going to say namaste. It's very important we give thanks and maintain that positive, optimistic perspective. So then let me come back to the concept of humility. There are many paths the entrepreneur can take for humility. It's very easy to write the checkbook, right? A financial donation is always to worthy cause, is always with merit. But you know what? That's the easy one, right? Giving of your time, giving of your energy, giving of your expertise, that's what makes a difference socioeconomically. And those people who do that, what can be more rewarding for both donor and recipient? People are nothing more than the product of their lived environment. And anyone who thinks that the world revolves around them, shame on them, right? We live in a community, we live in a society, we live in a country. That is what shapes us, that's what makes a difference. And we have to always be grateful for that. We have to always give thanks. But also, we have to never, ever forget what got us where we are. And the biggest shortcoming of ambitious entrepreneurs, so I'll repeat this, the biggest shortcoming of ambitious entrepreneurs is to fall foul of hubristic delusions. Falling foul of hubristic delusions. Do not let that happen to you. So, being an entrepreneur today is very much in vogue. I'm sure everybody listening and watching either knows an entrepreneur, wants to be an entrepreneur, considers himself an entrepreneur. So if you have that entrepreneurial itch, if you have that idea, you've collaborated, you've developed that idea, you've got your funding, just go for it. Just go for it. Do not hesitate. And as you embark down that entrepreneurial motorway, ambition sits at the epicenter of how far you will go. And it's great. And again, I have to repeat, ambition needs to be lauded. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. But as you hurtle down that entrepreneurial motorway and you pass your ambitious kilometers in record speed, never, ever, ever, ever forget who you are, where you came from, and who and what has helped you get there. And at the end of that motorway, you won't even need to use petrol or diesel because you'll be obviously electric. You'll be hurtling along, maybe in a rocket ship. You will also find your ladder, which you will climb to find your yes written on your ceiling, even if you do need a magnifying glass. And it is very important that you never give up that journey. Now, to conclude, I would like to quote the wonderful Seamus Heaney, who said, "We should keep our feet on the ground to signify that nothing is beneath us. But we should also look to the sky to see everything that is above us." So with that, thank you very much for listening.